There's video of these guys, right, attacking police officers. Look, I've said many times that I did not think that folks who just walked into the Capitol for 30 seconds and walked back out should have had the book thrown at them. Most of them did not get prison time, but still, want to pardon them? So be it. But pardons for people convicted of assaulting police, or even those who vandalized. I said the same thing, by the way, about the 2020 summer rioters. You engage in violence against property or people, particularly police officers, and you should have the book thrown at you. Is he really going to pardon even them? Joining us now, Corey Lewandowski, senior official for the Trump-Vance campaign, also served as the campaign manager for Trump 2016. Corey, good to see you again. Is he really going to pardon the folks who we see on the videos beating up police officers?
Dan, what I think we're going to see from President Trump on day one is righting the wrongs of the people who had to plead guilty for walking into the Capitol. And as he said, these are case-by-case basis, and he's going to look at the totality of the evidence against these individuals.
So
what
won't
we
be
do
all
know for sure is that the U.S. government had an active role in going after people who showed up at the Capitol that day, prosecuted hundreds and hundreds of them, probably some wrongfully so. And these people's lives have been ruined, as the president said. So listen, it's an opportunity to review each case and determine who should and should not be eligible for parole. And look, we've seen what the system is when it comes to pardons from this current administration, a blanket pardon for 10 years of activities looking back like we've never seen before. I think these people, their cases should be reviewed.
So you think that what Hunter Biden did is comparable to assaulting a police officer?
Oh, no, I think what Hunter Biden did is much, much worse.
It's much worse. It's worse than attacking a police officer.
But look, Dan, I was a police officer, okay? So I know something about this. And law enforcement, there is no bigger supporter of law enforcement than I am. I went through the police academy in New Hampshire. I served 4 years on the New Hampshire State Police, so I understand what this is, right? But what I will tell you is this, is what Hunter Biden did, which is he used his power and his name and his influence, and he smoked crack and he bought a gun illegally, and he lied about it, and he didn't pay his taxes, and he got a blanket pardon, something that hadn't been done in 50 years. 50 years after Joe Biden told us repeatedly he wouldn't be pardoning his son. All
right, so let's agree that the pardon shouldn't have been done. I want to give you an opportunity to withdraw your comment that that's worse than attacking police officers.
Dan, as a police officer, what I'm telling you is people who have attacked police officers absolutely will be penalized. There's no question about it. Are they going to spend the rest of their lives in jail? I think the president has said he's going to look at each of these cases on a case-by-case basis, and that's what it should be. How many people are still in jail for walking into the Capitol but haven't been held to account for the riots that took place for BLM marches or lighting police stations on fire?
I agree with you. This should be done on a case-by-case basis. I worry that it won't be, right? Because as I just said, leading into this, right, I do think that there are situations where there are people who are overcharged. In fact, I think there's a legitimate argument to make about pardons for certain folks. But again, the folks, forget about, oh, they got pressured into pleading guilty. We have the videos of a good number of them. It's not all of them at all. It's a minority of them who were beating the crap out of police officers. I'm just hoping that when it comes to them, that there won't be pardons. That's all I'm saying. And
I'm with you. There's no tolerance for violence against police officers. Never. Okay. I understand that as someone who served with the badge and the gun. I completely get it. And you don't know what you're going to come across when you go on duty every day. And I have unfortunately been to too many funerals of officers who lost their lives in the line of duty in the home state of New Hampshire, and it will never be tolerated. So any violence against a police officer is wrong. It will not be tolerated, and we have to make sure that they have the same rights that everybody has to defend themselves. So listen, police officers have a very, very difficult job, all first responders.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear you say that. I wanted to get that clarified. Corey Lewandowski, as always, good to see you. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.